Hi, welcome back to my channel, Love the Truth. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos pertaining to Lee Valley Regional Park Authority and the theft of my holiday home, that situation is still ongoing because I'm leaving that to the Creator. The theft of my car is the same thing. Nothing to do with Lee Valley Regional Park Authority. However, they both happened at the same time. Both of them was stolen at the same time. Now, I'm going to elaborate on that in another video because everything is connected, right? Everything is connected. And my last video was also me being homeless because of that. I've had an absolute traumatic experience when it comes to this housing situation, right? This homelessness. It's a joke. It's an absolute disgusting system that has been created when it comes to homeless people. Now, I have a lot of faith. I am faith. I walk with blind faith, right? And I trust in my Creator with everything, okay? Now, since I've been homeless, right? I've moved from coming back from Jamaica, coming back to nothing, fighting a case, writing letters beyond letters, beyond letters, beyond letters, beyond letters, fighting against the system for the theft, for touching my property, right? I moved into my son's property with him for 5 months when I left Jamaica. Then I moved into a friend's home, which is no longer my friend, for how many months? Let me see, I think it was for 2 months. And before I left there, it was a unfortunate situation where we're not friends anymore because it was an energy where you kick a man when he's down, and that's what happened to me. He was kicking me while I was down, disrespecting me. So I prayed to the Most High to get me out of there as soon as possible. 3 weeks later, I was out. I had to fight for this though. I was on the internet. And basically, a lot of these housing places don't want you to have, you can't bring no animals in. You know dogs, no cats, no animals. They're anti-animals. That's another thing that pissed me off, because I love animals. I love animals, right? So I thought, you know what? Since this system is such a fraudulent system, and they love lies, I'm gonna have to play them at their own game, right? So, I'm not saying that I lied. Hear what? When I was writing to this particular association, housing thing, whatever, they was giving me the feedback, no, you can't come in because you can't be housed because you've got a dog. I've only got a little Chihuahua cross Pomeranian. So, after about a week, I messaged them again, and I got a different woman, or somebody else was speaking to me. It wasn't the same one. So I basically replied back and said, like, you are going against a certain act in the fiction world, right, in the system, and by refusing me housing. So when I said something like that with a sort of a threatening energy, boom, I was in with my dog. But they didn't know that until when I got to the office and they signed me up and done all the benefit stuff and everything, and you know, got me on board. This particular woman that was signing me up, her name was Abby, and she had a dog in her office. She had a Frenchie in the office. Now I was happy to see that. That made me smile. So because I saw that, I brought out my phone and said, oh, I can't wait to go and pick up my little boy from my friend, my little Zion, who's been with my friend for 3 months when I was in Jamaica. And I showed her a picture of my dog on my phone, which was him in the bath, just coming out the bath. Looks so cute. She never said anything to me about not having a dog in there, bringing my dog. She never said a word. She just hurried me down what she had to do and let me sign papers, and boom, I was in. I had my dog in there. After a while, when I moved in, I started getting letters. Now, with the knowledge that I had already studied about the system, you don't have to open any mail. There should be that is actually unlawful, okay, for us to even have letters coming to you. So I never opened them. I left them unopened. And I was in a shared accommodation with 2 women. One woman was called Christine. She was a lovely older lady, about 67. And me and her got on like a house on fire. And then you had another lady called Rose, and she was lovely too, an African lady. And the office asked Christine if I've opened my letters yet. She told me, obviously. I'm thinking, what's she asking you if I've opened my letters for? Like you're gonna know. So Christine had beef with them anyway, so she didn't give a shit. What I loved about Christine, as old as she was, right, she was a fighting spirit, yeah. She didn't give a shit, like, about anything or anybody. She spoke her mind, she didn't care. She was a Leo, and she got this lion energy, you know what I mean? And I needed that because of how the traumatic experiences, what I was going through. So one day, after a certain period of time, I decided to open one of the letters, right? And the reason why is because I was sending letters out to the system, to the police and Lee Valley Regional Park Authority, to the police, what's it called? Police Conduct Independent, whatever it's called, I can't remember now. I sent the letters all over the place. I even emailing the MP and all of that, and it was all nonsense, mate. It was a waste of energy when it comes to dealing with these people. Yeah, they're full of shite, right? So I opened the letter, and it was a Section 21. A Section 21 basically says that you're not allowed, that you've breached their contract in having a pet in the house, and on top of that, they want to put in there about smoking, right? I was addicted to smoking weed, right? I ain't gonna lie, yeah. And there was a reason why, which I will elaborate later on in my other videos, right? But I'm not hiding nothing. I'm telling things straight. There's no corners cutting here, right? I was addicted to weed, okay? Couldn't come off of it, right? However, it was mainly about me having my dog. I still ignored it. I didn't care. I couldn't give a monkey's, mate. Now, because I was ignoring the letters, right, they ended up sending me bailiff letters. And the bailiff letters came 4 times. 3 times I stood my ground. And I remember Christine always saying to me, stand your ground. You make sure you stand your ground because you are worthy, right? So I stood my ground, and every time the police came and the bailiffs came knocking at the door, right, I was shitting it. I ain't gonna lie. Every letter that I've written, every single letter, and I've written about over 30 letters, right? I was shitting a brick, but I didn't give a shit. I was doing it because I knew truth, I know facts, and I know that I'm sovereign and I'm standing my ground. Even if I'm shaking in my boots and even if I can't speak, I'm going to stand my ground. And every time they come to the door, I would tell them straight, I'm sovereign, I've got rights, I know who I am, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. And I would show them certain documentation that you can't do nothing. I've got a claim of the life. A claim of the life is to do with quantum grammar. Quantum grammar is to do with facts, the truth. Because the language that we have been taught is spell work. So that language is cursive language. It's cursed. So the language that I was that I was using was quantum grammar technology, which is a language that deals with only facts, which is the truth. Period.
Greetings. As I've been watching the media and the things that are happening in society, there are many concerns that I have as Postmaster-General. I am witnessing the words that people use and the words from historical conditions from the past. I'm talking about the Babel. No, I didn't say Bible. I said Babel, which is fictitious grammar. It is the grammar or the communication that we use for confusion. And I would like to say, first of all, shame on the United States government, Congress, the post office, the U.S. military, and the presidents ever since 1999 who did not come forward and give closure to the citizens of this great land and the citizens of the world that they were captured by a fraudulent grammar Babel system with everybody's birth certificate. You will hear people use the word Aboriginal. Well, when you start a word with a vowel followed by a consonant, it becomes a condition, a state of negativity. So there's actually saying no original contract, Aboriginal, a no original contract. The reason why I bring these words up is words have values, but you have to look in the past. But many are not wanting to look in the past, for they are placing a eraser clause where they want to erase the culture of where they've come from, and that the culture of where we come from and the past gives us a memory of where not to repeat, how to fix things. Instead of throwing stones at the problems of the past, we need to identify our needs now. So what that means is, as they use these words, the words that they're using are technically grammatic in erasing the past. Now, if you erase the past, you break the guidelines of mechanics of how contracts move and how people move. For most of the people that are talking in such words all have birth certificates, and their birth certificates ended their authorization to be a man, woman, or child on this planet in 1999. Shame on the media, shame on the federal governments for not coming forward to the citizens of the world and giving closure that a solution has been put in place. For without knowing, the people are making choices and using words and erasing culture. By erasing that culture, let's take a look at what the no original contract people of the Aboriginals were about. AB means no, so no original contract. Second of all, they were hunters, they were gatherers. They were supposed to help and rebuild on the earth instead of throwing stones and destroying things. That is not what this is about. Also, by going back to that nativity, what they're doing is they're erasing the foundation of communication. And one of the main flaws of the Aboriginals in the past was that they differed in communication skills. And that difference in communication skills, that's what caused the conflicts, because nobody knew how to communicate. And then they were genocide, people were genocided against. Unfortunately, there's this Babel construction postal system that was put together where the postal wars enslaved and made slaves out of so many with their shipping manifests, and they're moving that cargo from point A to point B. When you watch my film Last Flag Standing, it will give you closure on the mechanics of how this came into place. The good news is, for the citizens of the world and the citizens of this great country, there's been systems that have been put in place. But if you go to an aboriginal condition of state, they bypass and erase the rules or the laws, the constitutional methods that were put in place to come into contract. Unfortunately, the people have been tricked since 1999 because the Constitution is no more. There are no more presidents. There are no more laws. There are no more rules. However, the hieroglyphics of the flag were put in place on a global level, which allowed the setting up of a new system. When you comply with these terms Aboriginal, that style of thinking bypasses laws, constitutional mechanics, and moves you into rules. The rules themselves are made up of forced conditions upon fear-mongering and torting of words through the Babel language, through the syntax of how people are communicating. So instead of being angry at the past and angry at society, let's take a real good look about these words we're using. Look at the prepositional phrases and the quantum grammar and the quantum banking system as a way, because there are rules within the quantum system dealing with rule 1 and rule say. So everybody has the same voice. Everybody has the same chance. We are all the same, and each lives matter here. You could go to my film lastflagstanding.com to see what's being going on and how they're trying to erase the very fabric of contract so they can create rules. The quantum system that I set up, when you move into rules, will bypass the safeguard mechanisms that have been put in place to keep all of you out of FEMA camps. When you move to rules, simultaneously, you're bypassing the accountability of those who perpetrated these heinous crimes and treasonous crimes against we the people worldwide. So think about this, as you move to a rule, you are now bypassing and letting the people off the hook who perpetrated this treasonous, traitorous act upon all of us. Thank you for your time. Thank you for learning about the quantum grammar. And just remember, you can go to lastflagstanding.com and to learn more about this story and learn about more about correct communication, parsing, syntax, grammar, and the quantum banking system. Thank you very much. I am Postmaster-General Russell-J. Gould, and thank you for your space.
There was a West Indian man and there was a Caucasian man, right? And I said to certain things to the West Indian man, and he was like, "Sure, man, we can't deal with this thing, yeah, man. You have to deal with this. We can't deal with it." And he walked away, right? And then the Caucasian man now with his bailiff, he come in the house now, giving it some, and you know, you got to come out and then I said, "Mate, I just kept my calm." I said, "Mate, I ain't moving from it, man. Like, so what you can do?" So they ended up going outside. And before you know it, they were gone. And I thought to myself, you see, these people think that they got power, they ain't got no power. And they know they ain't. But they push the boat out, they give it some to instill fear in you, to make you back down, shut you down, make your brain be all cloudy, so you don't know what to say, don't know what to do, and you fall into their little trap, and then lo and behold, they got you. So I did that 3 times. Now, Spirit was saying to me, my Most High was speaking to me the 4th time round. Now, 4 is foundation. That's what it means spiritually, right? And that's to do with your stability, right? Where you're grounded, foundation. So I knew that the 4th time round, Spirit was saying to me, you got to, this time, this is going to be for your own good. So This time, they didn't come with two, they came, the first 3 times they came with 2 police officers. The 4th time round, they came with 4 police officers with 2 cars. So I thought, okay, Spirit, I get it. This time I gotta go, right? So I was ready to go, right? But still, I still gave them the energy like, listen, you can't overpower me. I know my shit. You understand? I still know what I'm dealing with. I know what I'm saying, right? To the point where they came with, first it was the police first it was the bailiffs that come, and they didn't know how to handle me. They went back downstairs and they thought, right, let's get a police officer up there this time, right? Because the police officers didn't really interact with me the last 3 times. They didn't bother. 1 or 2 of them came. 2 of them came the first time, and I brought them in my room and I sat them down. I told them there's a case. I've got a case going on, ongoing case, and it's not dealt with. I ain't moving from here. And they left, right? They didn't just leave. They said they got an emergency. They got a radio call, and they said they got an emergency and they need to leave immediately. I said, okay, no problem. They left, right? And I looked out my window and I saw them parked outside the window, right? And they sat there for about 10, 15 minutes, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so that's the emergency that you got to sit in your car, right? So, on the 4th time, when the bailiff left and he could not get past what I was saying, he decided to let the police officer come up, and Abby was there as well, the office woman. She was there as well. So I had the whole congregation of everybody there, right? And I'm thinking, all the neighbours are watching. I'm thinking, I didn't care anyway. I was just thinking, you lot just drama, right? So, when the police officer came up now, I said to her, I was very polite with everybody, respectfully, with the greatest of respect for everybody, yeah? Calm, everything, yeah? And I said to the police officer, look, and he was nice to me as well. I said, look, you see that woman, Abby? She's not a nice woman. I haven't spoken to her since the day I moved in here, and this has been over a year. This has been a year and 9 months from what I can remember, right? She has not said, she's never picked up the phone and spoken to me about no dog, ever. All she had to do was pick up the phone and say, so if you can't have a dog in there. And I was like, well, can you rehouse me then, or whatever? She never done nothing like that. So I said, go and speak to her and, liaison and come back to me, whatever. And when he come back, you know what he said to me? He says, no, I see what you mean. I see what you mean about her. I said, see? You see what I've been dealing with? I'm calm, bruv. I'm easygoing. I'm cool. I'll go with the flow, whatever. You know what I mean? So, the police couldn't do anything. And I know that they can't. They have no power. They can't do anything. You're just there to just make it look like, you're threatening. It's a threatening energy. You can't, I don't feel threatened by you, bro, because I know what you're wearing. That uniform that you're wearing doesn't mean nothing to me. It means nothing to me. So what they had to do was get a woman that works with the bailiffs, but she was a calmer energy, a much calmer energy, right? And when she came up to me, she spoke to me with the greatest of respect, tried her best to make me understand, look, this is going to be for your own good. Now, when she said that, that was confirmation from Spirit that this is going to be something that's going to be the right thing for you. So I thought, all right, no problem. All right, I hear you, my darling. I'll come out. All right, I'll come out. So now that she got me on her side, she relayed it to everybody else. And then the bailiffs come back up now, be giving it some, right, pack a night bag, I'm like, night bag to go where? He's like, night bag to go to the housing. I said, what? Are they going to house me immediately? He said, yes, they're going to house you. They'll put you in a hostel and they'll take care of you and then you'll find housing. I said to him twice, I said to him, are you sure that they're going to put me in a hostel? He says, yes, they're going to put you in a hostel. Something said in my spirit, said, you know what, you're lying, I just feel like you're lying, because if that was the case, why didn't you say that from the beginning? I would have been out of here. Why didn't you say that from the beginning? However, because I know that Spirit has already confirmed this to me before they come to the door, I thought, all right, I'm going to do this. I said, listen, I'm coming back to get my stuff immediately though, you know. They're like, yeah, you can come back and get your stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. So everything was very cordial, respectful, so respectful that there was two police officers, the two women, there was two men and there was two women. And the two women, and I think I've still got their police badge numbers because I took their police badge numbers off of them. They drove me to the housing place in Edmonton, which is Enfield Council, which is in a library in Edmonton. They drove me there, right? Thank you, Father, you know? And I was so, you know, we had a laugh, you know what I mean? We had talked in the car, and I even asked her about a certain tree, what the name of a certain tree was, and she said it was a monkey puzzle tree. And I looked it up, and it was a monkey puzzle tree, which is a South American tree, because I saw it in, I was looking for properties then, another, you know, housing and stuff, and I noticed a tree, and I liked the tree, so she told me the name of the tree, so I looked it up. Anyway, when they dropped me off to the housing place, you know, I was very thankful. I took their badge numbers, and I said, I'm going to be doing YouTube videos eventually, and I said, I'm going to hail you up. So, hail up to those two police officers. That was respectful, right? That was very cordial. That was calm, you know, very nice, very nice. If all police officers were like that, well, we'd have a lovely life, you know, a lovely life. Anyway, got to the council. Mate, it was drama. Let me tell you, drama in that place. The place was packed with people looking for housing. Having, you know, people stressed, tired, ill, sick. You know, I felt like a piece of shit, to be honest with you. I felt like a lowlife. You know, like you're begging them for a roof over your head, you know? So, you know, eventually they did it. Basically, in so many, I'm going to keep the story short when it comes to that. There was no hostels, mate. No hostels. A woman basically said to me, word for word, there are no council properties. Between me and you, there are no council properties. Everybody that comes here is going to be housed, if they get a property, through a private landlord. I said to her, what? I said, repeat that again. She repeated it again. I said, so the police, when they told me that, the bailiffs, they told me that I was going to be in a hostel. I would be housed in a hostel for it. She said, no, that's not going to happen. I thought to myself, oh my God, these people are liars, man. They're just lies. These people just constantly lie. That's their Bible, full of lies. Excuse me while I have a sip of my drink. Now, when that happened, I was blessed to meet somebody at a gym, David Lloyd's to be exact. And this woman, it's like she's spiritually connected to me immediately, because I remember I was on a cross trainer, and she was like a ray of sunshine. She was bubbly, right? She's like, hello. I was like, hi, and I'm thinking, okay, all right, cool. Well, go on. You know what I mean? And straight away we connected, right? That day, and yeah, we connected, and we kind of stayed friends ever since. And she would invite me around for dinner sometimes, or I was still smoking, and you know, I'd go around there and we'll have a sit down, have a puff, and have a chat or whatever. You know what I mean? And I jam. She got a son as well. Lovely boy, really lovely boy. And sometimes we'll go to gym together, and sauna, and steam. So in that predicament where the housing's concerned, and she told me the woman told me what she told me, I rang her up while I was there, and because the woman said to me, the housing woman said to me, if you've got a friend that could allow you to stay with them for a couple of days until you find somewhere. And I'm thinking to myself, find where? How? Like, you know, but okay, you know, I'm just thinking I'm going to have to just try and seek housing somewhere somehow, you know. You know, the council will help you basically find something, right? She left it kind of in with that sort of connotation behind it, right? So I rang her up, and I asked if I could stay for a couple of days, and she asked her partner, and he said yes for a couple of days, right? So after a couple of days turned to 3 weeks, and I was stumped with what to do, right? I was really stumped with what to do. But I remember that when I was in the other property, which was in Enfield, right? The one that I was bailiffed out, kicked out of, right? One of the tenants there, which was after Christine left, which is the 67-year-old woman, another woman moved in, and she told me about a company called Beam. So I signed up. I remember that. So I decided to sign up with Beam, staying with my new friend, for help, to get help with housing. Now, every single day, religiously, I was looking for housing, right? And this Beam company was supposed to help me. Up to today, nothing, right? No, it was just, mate, it was so tiring. I stayed at her house for 6 months, right? 6 months. She put up with me. She accommodated me. She was absolute blessing. She was a blessing in disguise. I was so grateful to the Most High for her. A Caucasian woman. I'm not gonna, I suppose I should say her name. Her name's Amanda, and she was, Amanda, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. I'll always love her. You know, she was a saving grace, and she was a great Samaritan as far as I'm concerned, yeah? And cut the long story short again, eventually come to a point where, you know what, something inside me saying, right, contact some of these homeless organisations, you know, as if I was literally on the street, yeah? So I contacted StreetLink. Excuse me. I contacted StreetLink. StreetLink did actually come to see if I was there, because what we did, right? What I did, I mean, me and Amanda was talking about it, right? And once we contacted StreetLink, I stayed in the house, and was looking out. You know, obviously you've got to put a time frame that you're going to be at that particular spot where you sleep outside for them for them to come see you. So I put between 11 at night until 6 in the morning, right? 6 in the grand rising. Now, and I'd look outside to see if they were there in between 11 and 1 before I went to bed. Didn't see anybody. So I think after about 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks later, contacted StreetLink again. This time I said to Amanda, you know what? I'm going to sleep outside. I had a mattress which I used when I was at my ex-friend that kicked me when I was down. I was sleeping on his floor, right? So I had that mattress, and I had another mattress which I bought when I was at the bailiff's house, let's call it, right? So I had 2 mattresses. So I put them outside and I laid on them, slept on them. And I prayed to the Most High. I said, Most High, I pray that you work your magic, and the street gym, I keep saying street gym for some reason, because I'm a gymmer, yeah? I pray that StreetLink is going to find me here. 6 days later, boom, a guy called Barry, he came up to me about 6 in the morning, right? Hello, StreetLink. Can you? And he shouted. I was sleeping. He scared the life out of me, bruv. He scared the life out of me. But boy, was I happy to see him. I could have kissed him, man. Right? And he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I said, keep your voice down, mate, because people are still sleeping, bruv. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Even my wife says I talk too loud sometimes." He was lovely, absolutely blinding guy. Love you, Barry. Lovely Caucasian fella again. And he put me in his van, filled out forms. He says to me, right, I'm gonna do my best, Sophia, to get you into a property today. I says, today? He said, yeah, today. He said, I'm gonna make some calls, blah, blah, blah. Can you meet me at a certain spot once I get you a property, get you in somewhere today? Can you, mate, yes. Like, so, mate, that was like Christmas every day. Even though I don't celebrate Christmas, but yeah, it was celebrations for me in my energy. Even Amanda, so elated, mate, so elated. But I thought to myself, look at what I had to do to get a roof over my head. It's like, what? I'm thinking to myself, no wonder people are homeless. No wonder. If I wasn't in my... Anyway, he got me into a place, massive house with about 11 bedrooms in there, and I was in room 4. Amongst many people from all walks of life, right? A lot of people, obviously they're from the streets, and they're drug addicts and on medication and whatnot, but I got on with all of them. There's one guy who's very, very quiet to himself, but overall, I relate to everybody and anybody from all walks of life. I don't care where you come from, I don't care what you look like, I don't care what you've done in the past. I will get on with you, right? And it was that kind of energy, and all of them felt the same way about me, to the point people were giving me stuff in the place. And I'm thinking to myself, hold on a minute, man. All my life, nobody's never given me shit. I don't ask nobody for nothing. I'm very, 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 very independent, right? And I've never asked nobody for nothing. And nobody's never ever said, here, Soph, you can have this. Here, Soph, you can have that. Here, Soph, will bless you with this. Here, Soph, will bless you with that. Nobody. But these people that don't have nothing, oh my God. They shock me, man. Shock me. People were giving me food. People were offering me weed. People were offering me clothing. People would... One guy, well, I should say a couple really, right? And I'm going to say their name because I love them, yeah? Johnny and Kelly. Straight away, Kelly, I pick up on energy. I'm very sensitive to energies, yeah? And I could tell that she was scanning me, right? Checking out what I'm all about, energy kind of thing, you know what I mean? And I overheard her speaking to somebody in the house about me. And I heard her say, nah, man, I like that woman. She's cool. I checked for her. She's all right. And when they were going to get housed, they had a massive bass box, right? That they would play every morning. Wake up everybody in the house. I liked it because I love my music, innit? And not only that, it was early. Every morning they would play it loud. But I liked it because it would get me out of bed. They said to me, when we leave, we're giving you this bass box. You can have it. We're going to buy a new one anyway when we move, so you can have this, Soph. I'm like, what? Are you serious? And they're like, yeah, you can have it, man. You're cool, bruv. That they always ask me for stuff. You got any milk? You got any sugar? You got any honey? You got whatever they wanted, I gave it to them. Anybody that asks me for anything, I give it. Ain't nothing to me. I'm a giver. I give shit. Yeah, I give shit away. I don't care about things. I don't care about money. I don't care about nothing like that, yeah? Speaking about money, there was one guy in there that gave me a £5. He was going out one night and he says to me, I'm going out, right? Going shop. What do you want from the shop? I said, you want a drink? I said, yeah, supermarket. I said, you want anything else? I said, yeah, all right, then, a Yorkie. He didn't come back, right? He didn't come back. However, me and him went on a viewing together. And I said to him as a joke, right, when we was in the van, so what's happened to my supermarket, my Yorkie? And he started laughing. He took out his money, counting money, he's like, here. He gave me a £5. I said, nah, man, I was joking, man, it's jokes, innit? He's like, no, take it, man, take it. I'm like, all right, cool. So I took the money, I said, bruv, love, man, love. That experience, being in that place, mate, just made me look at life in such a different way, that, you know, people that have got it, that have got a lot, don't give. People that don't have a lot, give all the time. And that's all I experienced, being homeless in an emergency accommodation, housing, amongst people that don't have nothing. And on that note, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Straight from up
Hit it.